Guys, Overwatch 2 is officially canceled. The one element of this game that was meant to justify the sequel label has all but been abandoned at this point. And if I'm honest, I'm not surprised. Not because I wanted them to fail, but because after pushing back the PvE mode so many times, and with so little in the way of progress reports or gameplay footage, it kinda seemed like the PvE element wasn't very far along to me. If for some reason you're confused on what I mean, the last update we got with actual footage happened all the way back in June of 2022. Since then, we've had some vague rumblings and announcements of when the mode would be added to the game via seasonal release, but we still hadn't seen anything. If nothing else, not seeing any footage of something that should be releasing within 6 months was a huge red flag, at least for me. But since Overwatch 1, I've been skeptical of Blizzard, so I chalked it up to my own bias. Lo and behold, we get the cancellation announcement and the whole world, even people who don't play Overwatch anymore, are shocked and confused. So much that even the internet's favorite Penguin joined the conversation. Just in case you've been living under a rock, or in case you're not familiar with all of the details, I'll have a few articles about it linked below so you can get the full story for yourself. But I wanted to talk about this because there's one big thing about this situation that just doesn't sit right with me. There are some people talking about this calling Blizzard incompetent for biting off more than they could chew. And some people are still being forgiving in this situation because of all of the things going on in the background at Blizzard. We don't have to get into the details here, but things got messy there for a while. But for most people, there does seem to be a consensus around the idea that Blizzard overpromised and underdelivered. And even though on the surface level that is what happened, the real problem here is not the result of incompetence or even the issues that were going on in the background. The real problem with this situation is the intentionally misleading marketing campaign. Let me say first of all that I am often accused of cutting games too much slack. I can look at something like the No Man's Sky situation and see that as a little company getting thrown into a world too big for them and promising things they wanted to do but didn't have the means to create within their allotted time. And I'm willing to wait for a game like Destiny to get good over time while Bungie adapts to a genre they've never made before. I'll even still play Apex on a regular basis despite its many issues. Point is, I forgive a lot of garbage in the gaming industry, particularly when it comes across as incompetence. After all, humans make mistakes. But after reading the interviews and delving more into this Overwatch 2 PvE situation, this was not a mistake. It was a conscious effort to win goodwill from the player base with the false promise of something they knew was never coming. Just to be clear, I believe that when they first shared the concept for the new mode in 2019, it was a genuine idea for something they wanted to create. There was a concept and a plan to execute it. Back then, I still thought the idea was kinda meh and doubted that they could create a compelling mode, but I did believe that they were working on it. What I am calling a lie is the announcement they made when releasing the multiplayer element of this game. The premise given was that this is Overwatch 2, not just an Overwatch 1 update. And the reason they gave is because it's moving to free to play and because the story mode would be releasing at a later date. So many people defended the label of Overwatch 2 on that fact alone. The problem though is that by that point, the story mode ship had already sailed. And if you don't believe me, just take a look at a statement from this interview. When asked at what point they realized they wouldn't be able to deliver on the promise of PvE, Aaron Keeler responded with this: "As we were running up to the launch of Overwatch 2, we realized that we could not build that other game. We couldn't save up all of that content over the course of what was looking to be at least the next several years to finish it. And by doing that, pulling more and more resources away from the people that were playing our game and all the people that would be playing Overwatch 2. So we made a decision last year that we would focus all our efforts on the live running game and all of our PvE efforts on this new story arc that we're launching in Season 6. The usage of the word "this" here is important. So many people right now are saying, if PvE is canceled, what have they been working on the whole time? The word "this" reveals that the mode we're getting in Season 6 is what they've been working on. And based on the response from Aaron, they've been working on this at very least since last October. My problem with this is that it means everything they led us to believe about the coming PvE mode is now confirmed to have been a lie. Keller says that they're definitely not doing the hero mode and the talents or the power progression system, meaning that most of what was advertised as a selling point for this new mode has been completely gutted from the game. And not only that, but they knew they were gutting it from the moment they launched the multiplayer update. According to Keeler's own words, they said that they made this decision as they were running up to the launch of Overwatch 2. That means they knew they weren't doing this before Overwatch 2 launched. But they didn't announce that because they knew it would lead to even more backlash than they were already getting. Sure, we called out Blizzard for the seemingly minimal changes that didn't warrant the sequel title, but that pales in comparison to what would have been said if they also announced that they were no longer giving us the story mode they promised. To be fair, they are running a business and they have to mitigate damage, and it would have been one thing for them to slowly trickle out information to lessen the impact, but that's not what Blizzard did. The option they chose was to sweep it under the rug until they had 2 seasons left, that way they could make the announcement before they started showing footage of something that isn't what they promised, all while hiding it under the false label of being transparent. That's why I'm upset about this. Blizzard didn't just miss a deadline due to a change of plans. They flat out lied to us and then tried to make themselves look good in the process of telling us that they lied. That is not okay, and we should be talking about this. As it stands, these missions sound like they're just going to be the same thing we got back in Overwatch 1 with a few cutscenes and bog standard enemy design. And I have trouble seeing how the single player mastery mode will be any different. It's so disappointing to see Blizzard, a company once known for their polished games, become one that now you have to be wary of when it comes to delivering on a promise. But that's the world we live in now. I'm not one much for boycotting games or encouraging review bombs. I tend to think it's kind of stupid, and that if you enjoy something, you should do it. Life is too short to torture yourself just to prove a point to someone else. But unless there's a Fire Lucio skin as a reward, I don't think I'm going to be playing much of these new modes after they release. That said, I was always convinced this mode would be just the Omnic invasion missions with some extra abilities, so I am a bit biased. What about you though? Are you still excited for the PvE content, or has Overwatch 2 lost you with this announcement? Let me know in the comments below. Also remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.